It happens in every part of the circle. For every new ending, there must be a beginning. For every new start, there must be a finish. It is our exploration which creates the new beginning. It is our failures which makes it end. And that brings us to the beginning of the first circle, which could only happen at the end of the last. An old man stood next to a tree on a disk of earth hovering in the universe. He was old. His hair was almost gone, only a few strands stood. His face was very wrinkled, his eyes barely open. He grew tired. He laid back against the withered tree and slowly slid to the ground. As he touched the ground, his eyes slid shut. As they finally shut, a woman appeared. She was beautiful. She stood around wondering for a moment where she was. But then she knew. She knew it was a lie. It was all a lie. Her life, her world, her entire existence, it was all fake. She didn't know what to do until she saw the old man laying on a tree. And then she knew she was Mystere. She was life. She was magic. And she knew she could protect it this time. It was starting again, and it would not end the same way. So she stood with her arms out, her hair flowing behind her head. And her skin started to change brown and green and turn into bits of energy which dropped like water into the ground below. As her body started to dissolve into energy, it created a pool in the ground. And finally, the green pool, like veins of water, started slithering through the earth towards the old man. The energy slowly coursed into his body. As it went in, the hair started to grow back on the top of his head. Then next to the old man at the tree, a young man appeared, strong, bold, fearless. And he also knew it was a lie. But he knew what had destroyed it. It was chaos. Chaos had ripped his reality apart. And he knew it would never happen again because he was Festus. He was order. And chaos could never be allowed to distort and destroy reality again. With anger, he reached over, grabbing the withered tree and ripping it from the ground and throwing it. Anger just consumed him. Then he saw where the withered tree stood, some light, energy on the ground. And from that came a little seedling. A new tree was being born. He pushed the old man's body to the side to make sure the little tree wasn't crushed. And then he heard in his head a voice. It was a woman. Festus, it need not be the same again. He stood there sad, looking at the old man, seeing the hair slowly growing in as his body started to turn to a gold energy. He held his arms tight as it faded. He stepped back away from the old man. And then with a gust, the gold energy reaches down, lifting the old man slowly up in the air. Then next to the young man who had once been old, appeared another man, much older, looking at the body slowly spinning in the air. He had a slight smile. He was boring. He was happenstance. He knew there'd be more people. He knew they were coming because the last world had been a lie. He didn't care. It didn't matter. He just knew that it couldn't happen again. He had to stop order from over-constructing the world and destroying it. Maybe he didn't. maybe that wasn't the point. He was unsure. Maybe he was Festus. He was getting confused. Until he heard a voice in his head, Boric, it need not be the same. It doesn't have to happen again. And then he remembered, yes, he was Boric. He was chaos, not happenstance. It only appeared happenstance because it was chaos. He smiled. He covered himself, body turning formless and blue into energy. And it exploded towards the body, which spun faster and faster and faster. As the light of Festus went to stop chaos from happening, the green light of life ripped from the ground, all three touching at one point, and a boom! An explosion. Chaos, life, order flying throughout the universe. All from that one point, which connects all points of the universe, or it did. And there, at the bottom, a young hatchling was born. Farnick. He's our grandfather. Grandfather Farnick. He will stand the test of time, telling the stories and letting people know what the gods are and where they're from. Because, in the end, we must prevent the rage from coming